Oh, hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. Thanks for tuning in to Rosenfield 10, where I cover our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. Are you a Who Dat fan? If you're a Who Dat fan, subscribe to my channel. I love the Saints as much as you do. And I'm the only channel on YouTube that's going to show you the complete roster for our beloved Saints. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you the complete 90-man roster post-mandatory minicamp, and we'll discuss all of the latest moves, and you'll get to see what our beautiful boys in black and gold look like right now. Now, as far as I know, I'm the only channel that pulls the entire roster up and shows you every name. And I had to go through Hades and back to get this correct. But, a lot of websites that cover the Saints don't keep this updated. And so that's what I'm here for. So let's talk about our beloved Saints and let's talk about everybody that's on the roster right now. I'm going to show you the roster and you'll know. And you can thank me in the comments by subscribing. You'll be giving me a really big thanks. So let's look at the offense first. There's our beautiful boys in black and gold. There they are. That's the complete offense. And I'll tell you all of the moves that have been made recently. We re-signed quarterback Hunter Deckers. He was at Iowa State when he was in college till he got in trouble with gambling. He ended up finishing his last college season at Iowa Western. And then he spent a lot of time with the Saints in the offseason last year, and he was on our practice squad for a little while. But signed with the Houston Gamblers, actually, I guess drafted by the Houston Gamblers. I don't know how they work that in the United Football League, but played with the Houston Gamblers this year. He was pretty good, but he was injured. As a matter of fact, the Gamblers played three different quarterbacks as far as I could see through the highlights of this past season. And now the UFL is over with, and the Saints have re signed him. We've placed him in our quarterback room. The next addition on offense that I'll talk about is wide receiver Jalen Marino Cropper. He's a new wide receiver we've got on the roster. He's 25 years old. He spent his days in college with Fresno State. And in 2023, 24, and 25, he was with the Dallas Cowboys as a practice squad guy mostly, but he was elevated and played in a few games. And yeah, I guess it seems like he crossed paths with our head coach Kellen Moore in 23. So Moore was familiar with him, and Moore was probably also following the Houston Gamblers, checking to see how Hunter Deckers was doing, and that's where Jalen Marino Cropper played this past year in the UFL. He was with the Houston Gamblers as well, so we re-signed Hunter Deckers at quarterback, and we signed Marino Cropper. So, not bad. We've got some bodies there. Well, we had to release someone from the 90-man roster on offense to make these moves happen. And I'll tell you all of the releases we had. But on offense, we have released or waived wide receiver Damian Alford. Real big, 6'5", 6'6" guy. A lot of fans out there thought Damian Alford was going to be something because of that size, good red zone threat and stuff like that. Well, he was waived with an injury clause, so his season isn't completely over. Waived with an injury designation, and there's a chance that Alford could be brought back into the mix. Probably a practice squad guy, towards the regular season, beginning or middle of the regular season. Not sure what the injury was. None of that was specified. But Damian Alford is gone. Jalen Marino Cropper is in. And we've also got Hunter Deckers. Let's talk about the other moves because we had to make some releases in order to make some signings, and that's going to take us to the defense. So let's look at the rest of the 90-man roster when it goes to the defense. We have re-signed Cam Jordan. Yes, it's a beautiful thing. He's going to spend, what, his 16th season with the Saints now, maybe 17th. Right now, Cameron Jordan is 17th all-time sack leader in NFL history, but he only needs 6 sacks to crack into the top 10. I think if he gets 7.5 or 7 sacks or 7.5 sacks, he'll rise up to number 7 all-time. And I think if you're in the top 10 all-time sack getters in the league, that kind of solidifies your place in the Hall of Fame. Perhaps that's what Jordan is interested in. He's not interested in winning a Super Bowl with another team. He's not interested in going to another team. He had a couple of other offers from other teams. I know Kansas City was in the mix. I'm certain the Bears were in the mix with Dennis Allen there. And I'm pretty sure Denver was in the mix with Sean Payton as their coach. Now, Kansas City and the Broncos and the Bears, from a outsider's point of view, may have a better chance at winning a Super Bowl this upcoming season than the Saints. But it means a lot for Cam to come back to New Orleans. And if he can get 6 sacks and get in that top 10 all time, that would be a lot. That would mean a lot. Cam Jordan's already one of the greatest Saints to ever play. He was very productive last year. I predicted in my 53-man roster prediction, although he wasn't under contract, I predicted he would be on the team. Here he is, edge rusher for the Saints, Cam Jordan. Welcome back. Well, let's talk about the moves that were made to accommodate all of these new signings. We released cornerback Deshaun Jones. I believe he was out of Alabama as an undrafted guy this year. So we released Jones, waived Jones. And we also waived defensive tackle Keziah Izzard. He was on this team. He split practice squad with the Chiefs and the Saints last year, and then he was with us this year. We waived him. Wouldn't surprise me if he ends up with the Chiefs again in the offseason. There's a chance to bring him back, but those are the moves that happen on offense and on defense. And now let's talk about the special teams. Charlie Smith is on our team, but he doesn't count against the 90-man roster. He's a foreign player and he gets that roster exempt status. And Charlie Smith was competing with undrafted kicker Mason Shipley out of Texas, but we have waived kicker Mason Shipley and we've signed kicker Tanner Brown. And I'm very excited about this move. Tanner Brown played college with UNLV, and then he played, I think he finished with Oklahoma State. He came into the league in 2023, and he spent time on the practice squads of the Rams and then the Falcons. But Brown got the chance to play in the UFL this past year with the Louisville Kings, where he was phenomenal. Had, including playoffs, he was 29 of 32. Insane accuracy for a field goal kicker, 29 of 32, but also kicked 360 or more yards field goals. And in the UFL, if you kick a 60-yarder, it's worth 4 points instead of 3. He was able to kick one in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, I think it was the regular season, and then in the playoffs, he kicked 2 60-yarders. And if I'm not mistaken, the Kings won the UFL championship. I'm not sure who won the UFL championship, but I know they won that game. And Tanner Brown is the only professional field goal kicker to ever kick 2 60-yarders in a single game in a playoff game. So I remember watching the highlights for the UFL and thinking, man, whoever gets Tanner Brown is going to get a really good kicker. I mean, he's accurate and he's got a big leg. The problem with Mason Shipley out of Texas is very accurate, but his leg was iffy. His career long was 60. I think his career long or his long in college last year was only 53. Yeah, when you're talking about this guy Tanner Brown, who's going to make 2 60-yarders in a playoff game, man. And I can't help but say playoff like that playoff because I'm an old guy and Jim Moore is the man. So yeah, we released Mason Shipley and we signed Tanner Brown. So now the kicker competition is going to be between Charlie Smith and Tanner Brown, and we've got Ryan Wright as the kicker out of Minnesota. Usually we have an extra punter in camp just to have an extra leg, but Wright's going to have this job. You're formerly out of Tulane and has been in the league for several years now. And the only other person I haven't mentioned here is long snapper Zach Wood. So the two kickers, the punter and Zach Wood, are the four that you add to the offensive players and defensive players I've shown you. That gets your team to 90 players. I've added Miles Cole to the list and released a cornerback that we had. I saw an update not too long ago where we released Miles Cole, but no, he's actually on the team. He's actually doing pretty good. So let's pull up the offense again next to me, and I'll just tell you what I've heard through OTAs and the mandatory minicamp. Guys are looking good. Zach Wilson at quarterback is just completely inconsistent right now. Quarterback Spencer Rattler has looked very good. He's been very accurate. He's been kind of conservative, but he's being careful with the ball, and I think that's a big plus. Not turning over the ball. So Tyler Shuck has looked very good. But the defense for the Saints has been looking pretty good too. So I'm not going to feel bad if the offense has a bad day in the offseason. You know, you want it to be a balance. Offense does good one day, defense does good the next day. You don't want one side or the other to run away with it. So at wide receiver, I got to say, Ronnie Bell has been very active. He's a favorite target of the backup quarterbacks, and he's gotten a lot of targets, and he's responded well. Now, Ronnie Bell has, a lot of years under his belt. He's a veteran. He came up big for us at the end of the year last year, being able to step up from the practice squad and get involved. So perhaps that's why Ronnie Bell's looking so good in the offseason. He's always on second or third team. And does that mean he's going to factor in to this 53-man roster for the Saints? I don't know. I hear that Kevin Austin Jr. is doing really well. We haven't seen a lot from Jordan Tyson. We haven't seen a lot from Chris Olave. Chris Olave, they're still using the blood clot as a excuse for him not participating, though he's doing individual drills and he looks great. He looks very healthy. The same thing with Jordan Tyson. They say it's a hamstring and they're trying to work him in and get him ready for the training camp. But Jordan Tyson says that his hamstring's 100%. He feels great. So is it just being too cautious? I don't know. I'd rather be cautious right now. Apparently, Tyson's talent level is exceptional. He's not at risk of losing a place on this team by not participating. He's an exemplar talent. Exemplar. He's an excellent talent. So the other guy that looks really good is Bryce Lance. He's playing all three wide receiver spots, and that's going to get you on this team. That and some special teams play as well. In minicamp, actually, Jordan Tyson was handling some return duties. I don't know if it was punt or kick, but he didn't get involved in the 7-on-7s or the 11-on-11s, but they did have him out there fielding kicks. So that's interesting. Barian Brown, the draft pick from LSU, has looked really good. He's dropped a couple of them. He's run some pretty ugly routes, but he's also looked really good. Solid as a wide receiver, but he's been used in a lot of places. In minicamp, they were running sweeps with him. So that's interesting. I think Barry and Brown's got a job on this team. Jalen Polk continues to look great. And yeah, Kevin Austin Jr. is looking really good. Devon Bailey is just a guy who he has a place. He's big. He proved his worth last year as long as he stays healthy. So That wide receiving room is much improved and looks good. Oscar Delp missed a lot of time in the OTAs. He had injured, I believe, a hamstring, but he was back fully healthy for minicamp, and he was a favorite target of Spencer Rattler in minicamp. Oscar Delp looked really good, and Delp's been lining up all over the place. A lot of people have been asking about Taysom Hill. There's no contract on the table for Taysom Hill. It seems to me a given that Taysom Hill's going to retire. And you wonder how you're going to replace a guy like that. Well, that's why we're seeing a lot of players play a lot of positions. And Oscar Delp helps fill one of those positions. Tight end, the ability to line up in the backfield and in line and split out. Yeah, and by the way, our free agent acquisition, Noah Fant, has been very good. Looks really good. Also a favorite target of Tyler Shuck. So yeah, this offense is looking good. I believe, as far as the offensive line goes, um, Dylan Radens, who started at left tackle for most of the year last year, left guard, pardon me, started at left guard for most of the year last year. He's getting a lot of run in the offseason at right guard and not as a starter. Cesar Ruiz is the starter, and our fourth round pick, Jeremiah Wright, factors to be that backup guard. I believe I believe we're running Radens at left guard or right guard in the offseason just to make sure that he's ready to go and able to do it in case we need him to. The man played left guard last year for us, so he's just getting a lot of run at right guard. Center, that's a big up in the air. Who knows? After Eric McCoy, our primary backup is Torricelli Simpkins right now, but we're seeing Will Sherman play that a lot. I believe they're putting Trust there as well. They're putting a lot of players at center, and we're going to hopefully have a nice backup so we don't have to shuffle the line too much. That was something that we were able to avoid last year by having Luke Fortner as our backup center. We didn't have to slide Cesar Ruiz over. It's up in the air right now. I believe if Eric McCoy got hurt, we would have to put Ruiz at center because I think Ruiz would make a better center than Torricelli Simpkins or any of these other guys that are giving it a run at the money at center right now. So we'll see what happens, but those are all of your awesome offensive players. Now let's pull up the defense right here on the side and we'll talk about those guys. Cam Jordan is back. That means one less spot for the edges. And we traded for Tyree Wilson and we signed Anthony Jennings. And we've also got Chris Rump, who I'm not going to discount because he's one of the coach's kids, you know what I mean? He's a guy that's been in this system a long time and he never got a lot of play and when he did, he always showed up. He always made a couple of really big plays. And you, as Saints fans, you got to say that Chris Rump made a couple of good plays every game. Well, he didn't have very many snaps, so he took advantage of it. Chris Rump is one of those guys that if he doesn't make the team, you're feeling pretty good about Edge. And Rump's going to be on the practice squad, hopefully, unless somebody else comes in and grabs him. And then usually you carry a couple of edges on your practice squad. And I was saying it's going to be a big battle between Fadil Diggs or Michael, what's his name, the undrafted guy, Heldman. So Edge it went from a weakness to a strength with Cam Jordan returning. Not to mention Carl Granderson has looked really good in the offseason, especially in minicamp. He made a couple of pass deflections. Granderson was always the best at on our team last year at actually covering from the edge position. Grando's lost some weight. I think he's going to be more comfortable at his lowered weight now, and yeah, he's making some plays. Grando might be one of my special players of the year. We're going to do some videos in the next coming weeks predicting certain things, and I think a lot of people are overlooking Grando right now. People talked about we have Chase Young, and then after that at edge, what do you really have? I have faith in Granderson, and I think people are sleeping on how good he can really be. He always gives us a couple of really good games at the beginning of the year and a couple of really good games at the end of the year, and he just has this lull in the middle of the year. Well, Grando's one of those guys I think is going to step up and play really well. And now that you have Cam Jordan in the mix, there's a chance Anthony Jennings doesn't make this team. There's a chance we traded a fifth round pick for Tyree Wilson and he doesn't make this team because I have faith in Chris Rump as well. So that's the edge for you. And then middle linebacker looking good. Werner, Stutzman, Ellis. I love Ford. I love Stallberg. I think we're really good at linebacker. The defensive line is the thing. That's the thing that's going to be up in the air. If Davin Godchaw, who is a beast, stays healthy and, he's 1 year older, he seems really close to retirement at this point. But if Godchaw stays on this team and you can flex Miller to the outside at end as well as at nose, you first and second down with Gottschall, you put Christian Miller on defensive end on those plays, along with Vernon Broughton, and then on third down, you bring Christian Miller to the nose, and Broughton can still play the edge. You bring Brissy in to rush the passer. You got Tyree Wilson who can put his hand in the dirt. You got Cam Jordan who can put his hand in the dirt. Yeah, there's a lot of, and that's not even to mention Nathan Shepard, who missed all of OTAs because they were voluntary. And he shows up. He's supposed to have a pitch count because we're going to ease these people into it. And yeah, Nathan Shepard gets a sack in the first 7 on 7 or 11 on 11s. You know, it's kind of a simulated sack because the offensive line and defensive line aren't really going at it right now with no pads, no contact kind of stuff. But Nathan Shepard is another guy that's doesn't get a lot of love, but he's here and he's healthy, and yeah, we're hoping the defensive line steps up. Secondary is also a big question mark. Jonas Sanker playing the nickel. I think Quincy Riley's going to keep that outside cornerback position along with Kool-Aid McKinstry. McKinstry has looked great. I think the wide receivers should have an advantage over our cornerbacks. We're so deep at wide receiver. Kool-Aid's been making plays. And I think if it's up to if if all things equal, Quincy Riley, Martin Emerson, Isaac Yadam, you got to go with Riley. He's the young guy. He's the one that has this chance to improve even more than the talent level he exhibits right now. So Martin Emerson is your primary backup starter, outside cornerback, pardon me, and then Isaac Yadam, who has a year under his belt in this system now. Brandon Staley brought Isaac Yadam back to New Orleans from San Francisco. Yadam is a Staley guy, so I'm not giving up on Yadam either. And then with Razon Wright, who made the active roster last year, looking so good, it's really hard to see very many other cornerbacks making this team. People want to focus on Jaden Price because he's the second nickelback right now, and I think he's just getting some practice time to see if he can do it. I don't think Price makes the team, but he has a chance to show a lot of improvement. And Price looked good in preseason last year. I'm expecting to see Price this year in preseason, along with Rajon Wright, who I've always liked. And yeah, he made the active roster with Staley this past season. So Wright's a guy no one's talking about, and you're going to have to keep an eye on him. Then you got guys like Beanie Bishop, who are factoring in at the nickel as well, and can play multiple positions at safety. We got a nice safety room here. No one's talking about how good Jordan Howden is. Howden had a chance to play last year and made some really big plays. So I think our secondary looks pretty good. I'm not too worried about it. You watch other channels, they'll tell you the secondary is the iffiest thing. Well, we'll see. We've got a long break to go before training camp starts. Everybody enjoy your summer. I'm going to have some videos predicting some things. We'll look at this roster even deeper. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10 for more videos about our beloved Saints. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?